The rain hammered down on Lucy's head and battered her shoulders. In weather like this, it didn't matter if Lucy spoke or not. No one could hear what anyone said. Matron Mackinac pulled her Oxfords out of the mud and slipped a cough drop between the gap in her teeth. "Lucy, get working!" Lucy was shoveling. Bald Doris was leaning against the wall. But as usual, it was Lucy whom Mackinac scolded. "We aren't even halfway—" Rain drowned out Mackinac's words. "Stay here," she shouted, and ran across the grass to the boys' house. Lucy's heart knocked like a woodpecker in her chest. Orphans were never left alone outside the fence. If only Lucy had had time to plan, then she'd know which direction to run. No matter which way she chose, Bald Doris would tell Mackinac. But Lucy had fast feet. Only now it was too late. Mackinac was coming out of the boys' cottage. Lucy had lost her chance. The disappointment tasted like blood in Lucy's mouth. Mackinac struggled to close the rain-swollen door. Next to her were two boys carrying shovels. One boy was Lucy's size, small for an 11-year-old. He had dark hair and a bounce to his walk, like the ground sprang him up with every step. The other was as big as a barn door, with falling-down trousers that seemed to need his regular attention. Both had on the charcoal gray coats all the orphans wore. The bigger boy nodded to Doris. Doris made a face at him. The boys dug in, shovel heads clinking against each other in the river sand. Matron Mackinac walked along the line of sandbags set against the side of the house, one hand on the skirt of her umbrella to keep the wind from turning it inside out. She slid the candy around in her mouth, her eyes flicking between the girls and the boys. "Don't move, I'll be right back," she said, and hurried off, her Oxfords making squelching noises as she pulled her feet out of the mud. Lucy took a step forward, but the wind rose, shoving her back, and her right foot returned to its place by her left. Then the wind died down, and the sound of the river filled her ears. All of the awful things that had happened to Lucy at the orphanage came rushing through her head. The humiliating lessons with Miss Holland, the cruelty of Matron Mackinac, the cold sweats on the mornings Mackinac read the list of orphans to be sent to reform school. Lucy took off across the wet grass and through the trees. She leapt the ditch to the dirt road, her legs sailing under her. She had just gotten to the river when she heard pounding feet behind her. Sunday, April 16th, 1939. Chapter 2. Smartest Man in Chicago. Lucy stole a look over her shoulder to see how close Mackinac was, but it was the big boy, with one hand gripping his trousers, followed by Bald Doris. The smaller boy was gaining on Lucy, his arms pumping with effort. Mackinac had sent them to catch her. Lucy forced her feet to run faster. The smaller boy pounded at her heels. "Wait! Hey!" "Get away!" The words floated through Lucy's head, then slipped back down her throat. "We're coming with you!" he shouted. Lucy stopped, her throat burning. She bent over to catch her breath and got a good look at the bigger boy. His ears stuck out of hair that needed cutting, but his blue eyes were unafraid, as if running away were a natural thing to do, like a burp. Bald Doris was right behind him, scratching her head. The matron had shaved her hair to get rid of lice, but the ointment they rubbed on her scalp made her itch. The smaller boy had city in him. He was more like the kids Lucy knew back home in Chicago. He squinted at Lucy. "Where are we going?" Cold, wet, and hungry, with blisters forming on her feet. The only idea Lucy could come up with was to find her sister, Dilly, who would be 17 and nearly a grown-up now. But Dilly was in Chicago. Lucy had no idea where in the city she lived, or even if she was still there.